Hello, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday with 3W. Wellness Wednesday is sponsored by 3W Medical for Women, a nonprofit medical clinic offering free of charge or low-cost women's health services in the Seattle area, regardless of income or insurance status. 3W does not profit off of the health choices women make. The information shared in this podcast is the opinion of the speaker or speakers. Medical information is not intended as individual medical consultation, but for general education only. Always talk to or consult your own health professional for personalized advice regarding medical decisions. And if you're in the Seattle area, consider making an appointment to consult with us. I'm Helen Nguyen, CEO of WAMS/3W Medical for Women, and the host of today's podcast. Hi there, Wellness Wednesday listeners. Back in the studio with not a guest or not someone that you haven't heard from before, but always welcome back, our dear Adeola, our naturopath here at 3W. Hi, Adeola.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm so well.
I was just going to say your outfit is so cute today. I cannot deal with it. Anyways.
Thank you.
Okay, we're talking about this, what would you say? This phenomenon that has taken over the country, the world.
Yes.
And it's a little taboo. It's a little hot because of what it has done to bodies these days. We're talking about Ozempic, people.
That's
today.
Right.
And there's been so many, I don't know. There's been so many different names for it, like Ozempic face or like memes on social media. I see it all the time. And I just wanted to pick your brain about what you know about it, what it should be doing for your body, and how people have, quote unquote, abused it in some ways, right? Okay, so tell us what Ozempic is.
Okay.
Ozempic.
Ozempic is a GLP-1 agonist drug.
Oh my, what is all of that?
So GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide. Okay. And basically it's a hormone that our bodies make.
Okay.
Anyway, it's made in the gut and I think also in the brain.
Okay.
And it's in the class of substances called incretins. And what they do is reduce blood sugar. So Ozempic is FDA approved for treating diabetes.
Okay.
So in diabetes, people have difficulty managing their blood sugar, low insulin sensitivity. So when insulin is released, if it's released at the right amounts in their bodies, its job is to take sugar out of the bloodstream and bring it into your cells so you can use it. Okay?
Got it. Okay.
If you are insulin resistant or type 2 diabetes, instead of insulin bringing the sugar out of your bloodstream into your cells, you end up not being able to do that, and the sugar stays in your bloodstream. So that's why when you go for a blood draw, if your blood sugar is high, it's because that sugar hasn't gone into the cells. It's still in the blood.
I see. Okay.
So GLP-1 is a hormone that sits on, or as Ozempic, it sits on the same receptors as GLP-1 in our bodies generally do. And what it does is reduces blood sugar. So it helps increase insulin sensitivity, so your blood sugar is reduced. So that's a basic, hopefully.
Yes, I got that. I was able to imagining it in my brain.
Is supposed to be doing.
Okay.
And honestly, it's a phenomenal drug for someone who has had difficulty managing their blood sugar with nutrition and lifestyle, and they just need some support. And it is a hormone that our body makes anyway, so it's acting the way that our body should be acting if it were functioning properly.
So it just kind of accelerates that hormone?
Yep. It just means that if your body wasn't making enough of GLP-1 or if it wasn't functioning the way it was supposed to, then Ozempic will come in and do what GLP-1 is supposed to do in your body, reduce your blood sugars.
Okay.
When your blood sugar is reduced, then you have all manner of other functionality that comes with it. So hence the, interest in the weight loss function.
Yeah.
But besides that, it also is, because of its work in the body, able to reduce cardiovascular health risk. So reduces the risk of stroke and heart attacks, because when people have high blood sugar, you're at higher risk of inflammation in those blood vessels. Sugar is inherently inflammatory. So if you have too much in your blood vessels, it causes inflammation in the blood vessels. Inflammation causes damage, which puts you at higher risk for cardiovascular incidents. So when you're able to manage your blood sugar, all of those risk factors go down, which is, on the whole, a great thing.
Okay. What's the downside of Ozempic if not used and managed by a medical professional? And I'm assuming that when a provider provides this prescription, that they kind of monitor you on this medication.
Exactly.
So what are the downsides of Ozempic?
So there are some risks for like rare thyroid cancers, for example, pancreatitis. So some people might be more sensitive to it than others. So there's that. There's also just like the risk of people losing weight too quickly.
That's a thing?
Yeah. You can lose weight too quickly. Like your body needs to kind of catch up with you if you're not at the right dose. And you want to lose weight on a steady, progressive basis. And usually, from what I understand, Ozempic can help you do that, but you do need to monitor. And the downside is kind of like it won't work as well as it should if you don't do that nutrition and lifestyle piece, right?
So it goes hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Ozempic has to come with lifestyle change.
Yes.
So increase in exercise, increase in not so much processed foods probably, right? Just you can't keep living that lifestyle and take Ozempic and have it be that magic pill.
No, it is not a magic pill. It is not a magic cure. You still have to do all the things you are supposed to do to take care of yourself. Ozempic will just bolster your efforts.
Got it.
And it can have significant results in a short amount of time. But when you stop taking it, just like anything else,
it comes back.
It will come back. So if you don't use it as sort of a support and bolster while you are laying a foundation of healthy eating, sleeping, hydration, exercise, then if you've kept bad habits while you're on Ozempic, you go back to those habits or you continue those habits, then the weight will come back.
Got it.
For sure.
Okay.
There are also side effects. Like some people have digestive side effects, so diarrhea or constipation, nausea or vomiting. So depending on the person, those can be either easily managed or you might have to go off the medication.
Do you kind of gradually start with a lower dosage and then build up?
Yes.
Okay.
So for Ozempic, which is FDA approved for the treatment of diabetes, it starts at 0.5, I think, milligrams a week. So it's a weekly dose, an injectable dose that you inject.
You inject?
You inject it, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a subcutaneous injection. So you just kind of inject it into the belly or the thighs or in the arms, just somewhere where it's fatty.
Okay.
And then it's a hormone, right? So it just kind of diffuses into the body and does what it's supposed to do. So you have a weekly injection.
Okay.
Some people do use the same medication for weight loss and under the brand name Wegovy. So it's the same medication. It's called semaglutide. So Ozempic is semaglutide. Wegovy is semaglutide. And Wegovy has been FDA approved for treating obesity. And a lot of times when people are struggling with losing weight, they're also struggling with blood sugar control. So those things just all kind of go hand in hand and increase your cardiovascular health risk.
Okay. So in your opinion, I feel like Ozempic kind of like burst onto the scene. Yeah. And in some ways, celebrities got to it first. Then it kind of got popular, and then everybody has Ozempic face now. Because you can tell. You're just kind of like, dang, she dropped that weight fast, right?
Yeah.
Like Oprah, Christina Aguilera, Lana Del Rey, like all these people who used to be on the thicker side of things.
Yes.
And just, I feel like they haven't always been that weight, but just the season in their lives, right? And these are celebrities who have private chefs, who have private trainers. Suddenly, it was off.
That's
like
right.
they look completely different people,
That's
right?
Yeah.
And the rumor is they're taking Ozempic.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happens to your body, when there's that drastic drop in what feels like a month, 2 months, what are some things that they're not telling us, right? What are in your professional opinion and understanding this drug, what are they not telling the public are the side effects to dropping that weight that fast?
I think it depends on the person. If you are being monitored, then anything that comes up should be addressed quickly, right? But because of what it's doing in your body and helping you manage blood sugar, also it slows the clearance of food in the stomach, so you just feel fuller for longer. So it's sending this message back to the brain like, oh, we don't need any more food, we're still full. So then people will tend sometimes not to eat as much. It also kind of reduces that sort of high you get from eating food that you love, or even from drinking alcohol, the endorphins, dopamine. So people don't really crave foods that they wanted anymore. So people just start to eat very differently or not eat as much as they used to. So if it's working that way in their body. Some people will continue to drink and continue to eat foods that they're not supposed to, but what it's supposed to do is reduce the cravings, reduce kind of the sense of pleasure that comes with just eating sugar, and help you feel fuller for longer. So what they might not be sharing with you is that they're probably not eating as much. Maybe they're not enjoying their food as much as they used to, which would be really hard for me. I know. They're just like, oh, I don't want that, treat that I used to have anymore, which for some people could be really good.
Sure, right.
For other people, this is a shift in your body chemistry and your brain chemistry too. And we don't have a ton of research on this drug. Just like any drug that's new and bursts on the scene, there's some research that shows that if people are on semaglutide, Ozempic, for a little over a year, something like 68 weeks, then they're likely to maintain more of their weight loss over time, right? So if people go on it for a couple of months, they probably won't get necessarily the best results. They might gain more weight sooner after they go off of it. So we're still figuring out the long-term effects. There's starting to be intrigue on whether it can help with neurodegenerative diseases, right? Because it can reduce cardiovascular health risks. So things like Parkinson's or even addiction. So they're starting to see where some of these kind of fringe benefits of the way this drug works can help further the way we're able to treat people with chronic diseases that really we haven't made the kind of headway that we would like to at this point. So I think there are lots of bright parts of it. I'm always very just suspicious.
Sure. Yeah.
Drugs that just kind of burst onto the scene.
Yes.
And, people are acting like it's some miracle cure.
Yes.
There are no miracle cures. And because I'm a naturopath, I'm always just very first thing is, how do you feel about your body? Because I hate for people to say, well, so-and-so celebrity has lost all this weight and they look great and I want to look like them.
Right.
I just feel like that is a horrible motivation
Exactly.
for really anything.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially with your body. I think our relationship with our body is sacred. And first it's important to accept your body wherever you're at and to love your body and then to be a good steward of your body, right? To take care of your body and make sure that you're helping to yourself function as best as you can. I think that's important. But that mindset, I think, needs to be strong before you try anything. So you could use fad diets the way people use Ozempic. You could use certain types of exercise the way people use Ozempic. If there's this sense of lack and grasping and, wanting what someone else has just because they have it, or this societal idea that you have to look a certain way, you can use anything to achieve the kind of results that you think are ideal.
Well, I'm using Oprah as an example a lot these days, but I just feel like, she has a limitless income, right? She sits on a pile of money and I'm sure she has personal trainers through the years. She's had chefs and stuff like that. And look at her weight. It has gone up and down and everywhere, right? And she's always been very good about being open about that kind of stuff. And I always go, you know what? If Oprah, who has all that money at her fingertips, can be struggling with her weight, like any other woman in our lives, even ourselves, right? We need to be kinder to ourselves.
Yes.
Of like, there's just certain seasons in our lives that we're a little bit thinner, that we pack on a little bit more pounds, you know, when you get pregnant, when you just all these different stages in your life, and to just honor maybe that stage and go, okay, how do I modify my life? Or take a little, or have someone like you walk alongside and help. Kind of go, hey, how do I rein this back in? Because it doesn't make me feel good. I still love myself, but it just doesn't make me feel good right now because my clothes don't fit. Or, you know, I'm breaking out, you know, or something like that because I'm consuming too much sugar or too much of this thing that I'm not supposed to. It's coping for a different maybe stage in my life, stress or whatever it is. So it's been fascinating to watch Ozempic kind of take over Hollywood and be this magic pill. But in actuality, maybe these people need to dig a little bit deeper and be more happy with themselves first.
I mean, and that's kind of easy to say. People have a lot of...
We're generalizing. Yes.
People have a lot of woundedness when it comes to how they see themselves, how they see their body, how their body has been treated, how they think their body should be treated. And then society just kind of idealizes a certain form, especially for women, for men too. But there's like a certain ideal form. So then when you put those two things together, it can be just really hard. You know, like a real
there's
struggle.
A pressure, right? When your image, when you're paid to have a certain image. They're literally paid millions of dollars to look a certain way. So I think there's this subconsciousness of, I need to keep up with that. And unfortunately, when you're in the limelight like that, people can say cruel things. Right? Regardless of how confident you are. People can say cruel things. And so you kind of get swept up in that kind of stuff. So do you think Ozempic is here to stay? And and I heard that there's a shortage now. Because there are people who should not be taking Ozempic. And what is our government or FDA or all of that regulating that? Because I know a couple of people that's coming to mind right now that I won't say that do not need to be on Ozempic, but has convince their providers that that's the route they should go.
And I think the onus really is on a provider who's prescribing to honor the purpose of the drug, right? And there are a lot of people who just want to lose weight because they want to lose weight, and that's fine. But as a prescriber, we have to maintain the integrity of the medicine. And, you know, I believe most insurances will cover Ozempic if it is for diabetes management, if like your hemoglobin A1C levels are high, if you also have some what you call comorbidities, so obesity, high cholesterol, cardiovascular health risks, right? So yes, it makes sense, but it has to go along with nutrition and lifestyle. And in those scenarios, then yes, I think it should be covered by insurance and people should be monitored closely. What you are getting, though, is people getting it compounded places. They're counterfeit forms of it that people can get. And then it makes me wonder if it's here to stay, right? Because then the integrity of the drug is being compromised. And then my mind goes to people who struggle with like eating disorders and are finding their way to, you know, to medicines that help them maintain their image of themselves in their mind, but it's not good for their bodies or souls. So I think we have to be vigilant for sure. And I think just as a society, I think we can do better in encouraging people to be healthy without having to look a certain way to be accepted.
Because people can look heavier and be healthy.
Absolutely.
Well, I was watching the Olympics. These weightlifters, right? They're big.
They are strong.
And yet they can lift a lot of weight, you know? And you're just, my mom and I were just this guy from Japan. I was like, oh my gosh, he is huge. And I couldn't lift what he just lifted.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're being surrounded by a team of people watching their nutrition and
building
all
their
of that
bodies.
stuff.
Yeah.
And everybody from the Olympics, all their bodies looked different.
Everyone.
No one looked the same.
Yeah. Which goes to show you can build your body. You can build certain muscle groups and train your body for various functions. Like during COVID, my family got really into sumo wrestling. Like we would watch it all the time. There are tournaments like 4 times a year.
Yes. It's fascinating, right?
It is fascinating. But they showed this little, segment on what the sumo wrestlers eat and how they live together in community.
Yes.
And it's just like this simple soup, this very nutrient dense soup. And that is how they build their bodies. Also with exercise and training.
Yes.
But they don't have, as far as I understand, higher cardiovascular health risks. Like they're not unhealthy.
Yes.
In those ways. I mean, the way they use their bodies is incredible.
Yeah.
But their nutrition is watched very, very closely.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you think, oh, this person is very large and they do these kinds of things with their bodies. They must be unhealthy.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. You know, they're being monitored pretty closely. So I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah. I watched one.
Yeah. Live or on TV?
Yeah, on TV.
Oh, yeah.
On TV. Yeah. I was just like, what in the world is this? I got sucked into it. My little cousins were watching it.
Yeah.
The boys. And
it's fascinating.
I was like, oh my God. And they have kids and they have wives.
Families. I know.
And it's just a whole cultural thing. Sorry, guys, we're on to sumo wrestlers. But it's like a whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're heroes too. I think my understanding is like, they're heroes in the culture. But again, their bodies look very different from other people's bodies, but it's by design, right? And I think it just reminds me that it's important to be aware of what you're eating. And if you're trying to build your body to do certain things, that you have support in doing that. But the most important thing is just to consider your body a gift. And just a space where you can be comfortable or find ways to become comfortable. And also just remember that your body and your mind are connected too, right? In important ways. And different functioning in your body affects your mind. And I know like Ozempic can have interactions with different drugs that are meant to help with mental health or with hormones. I was looking up interactions yesterday, and it can interact with estradiol and hydroxyprogesterone. So you have to watch out. I know one of the forms of it, I think Mounjaro, you cannot use birth control pills while you're taking it, right? So you have to be aware of how...
I've not heard about that.
Yeah, I looked it up. I'm like, we
Thank you for interpreting it for us.
We do women's health here. Like, what does it mean to be a woman taking this medication? So, and some antibiotics as well can have interactions. So I think it's important just to look at your whole health.
Yes.
And not just this one goal, even though it's a big goal, especially if you have lots of cardiovascular health risks.
Yes.
But what are your other medications? What are your other risk factors? How does this medication help you towards those global goals for your health?
So just to back up a little bit, do you have to be diagnosed with diabetes or insulin resistant to code, I guess, for the insurance company to cover Ozempic? Do you have to be diagnosed?
I think so.
Or should be diagnosed,
I think you should be diagnosed.
Okay.
You should be diagnosed. For insurance, I don't think there's any reason why, and it depends on the insurance company, why they would not cover it if you are a diabetic, if you have high cholesterol, if you have other risk factors, right? If you have high blood pressure, if you have a high body mass index or BMI. There's no reason insurance should not cover that in my mind. And every plan is different, but it should be covered. If you have none of those things, then I don't think you should expect for it to be covered because you are not the ideal patient for this drug.
Well, you as a patient shouldn't expect a provider to give it to you if you have not been quote unquote diagnosed with that checklist.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if it's just that, it's hard for me to lose weight. If you don't have any of those other things going on, then I don't think you should be prescribed Ozempic, right? We'll have to find out why it's difficult and figure out what the underlying cause of that is and then treat at that level, but not necessarily just take this drug as a Band-Aid to fix something that you're not sure why it's happening. You know, why is it so hard? Is it some other system in the body or other hormonal imbalance or metabolic issue that's causing it? So I think that's an important point, that people shouldn't just try to Band-Aid whatever might be going on with their body to reach this, you know, body composition goal.
Got it. Yeah. Well, all right, folks, you've heard it from our expert on Ozempic that it seems like it could be for those that are struggling with diabetes, insulin resistance, that meets those checklists that Adiola just listed. It might be an option.
Yes.
But again, what we always say on these podcasts when it comes to these drugs or these options that you might have at your fingertip that seems like a quick fix, everything in moderation.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes just that little bit of seeing progress, if you've been struggling and journeying for a long time, can fuel more progress. And when you have that, you know, positive reinforcement that, hey, what I'm doing is working, then maybe it inspires you to look at your nutrition a little bit differently, exercise more regularly. And in that case, I mean, that is ideal. That's what you want to make positive progress, and then to not rely on the medication for your whole life. Because if there's one thing I am utterly against, it is unnecessary use of medication. If you do not need it, if your body doesn't need it, I strongly believe and encourage people to find ways that are natural, that are sustainable, that are accessible for them to maintain their health.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for enlightening me about Ozempic, because it's been thrown around so much. It's been just hyper focused on, and I feel like social media especially, right? So thank you for helping us understand more about it. And I'm sure if people have more questions, they can email you, call you, come and visit you here at 3W, or even your private practice, and gain more information on if Ozempic is the right option for you, or it might not be. And maybe Adiola can help kind of uncover some other more natural approaches to weight gain or achieving what you think is something that's best for your body and honoring what that your body looks like. So thank you so much, Adiola.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. If you have any questions about Ozempic, please reach out to us. Until next time, bye. For more information about 3W, please visit our website at 3wmedical.org. That's the number 3, the letter W, medical.org. From there, you can learn more information about the services we provide, book an appointment, or make a donation if you'd like to support our mission. You can also call our office at 206-588-0311. That's 206-588-0311. If you like this episode, please share it with others and consider subscribing on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, stay healthy and be well.